Alright, we're back. Another episode with this thing. I've got a ridiculous amount of hours of work to do this thing, so it's going to be constantly work on this thing for a little while, but nonetheless it should be a little bit of fun. So today we've got more work to do on the front bar. I've got this plate cut out off McGill, so that'll mount the winch. So I should be able to knock most of the bar out, I reckon, today, or at least the bottom half of it anyway. And yeah, I've got to start making some sliders. I've got a decent delivery of steel, so I've got enough steel. Yeah, make some rock sliders and might even bend up some roof sliders. I'll see how I go. Got a couple other little things to do, like this needs a good clean, but this 12-24 volt box is going. It's going to a mate. It's been awesome. I've had no issues with it, but because I'm going to a twin motor winch, this is no good for two motors. Yeah, you'll end up burning it out. So I've got the Red Winch supercharged box coming whenever that gets here, thanks to Corona. But so that should be, and that's rated to, I think it's 750 or 800 amps for 30 seconds, so that's heaps. Yeah, this little manual isolator's going, and also put in the Red Winch 12 volt switch and isolator, so I can switch the isolator on and off from the dash. And this compressor's going in favour of a bigger one, which I've got on the shelf, just the next size up, single motor one. And then I've got to make an air tank as well to go somewhere here, and yeah, feed both compressors into the air tank and have me locker solenoids and free spool and the air brake for the winch all out of the air tank. So a little bit to do under here. Obviously that's all not going to happen today because that's a lot of work, but anyway, we'll make a start on whatever we can, and we'll see what we get done. And also in one of my many shopping sprees, which I seem to be doing far too often, but I found these. So it's a like a voltage booster, so 12 volt in converts it to 13.8 volts, it says there. Use that for the travel buddy. So yeah, if you want to pull up and still have the oven run at optimum temperature, one of these things is pretty necessary. Because yeah, if you ever tried running the oven just on 12 volt without your car going, it does take a bloody long time to cook something. So yeah, this sort of makes it think that the car's running, the alternator's pumping in charge, so the oven works far more efficient. I got it from, of course, Roadrunner Off-Road. I do a lot of shopping there, and they even come with Anderson plugs, and I've Anderson plugged my oven. Well, that's the fridge, but same Anderson plug, so just plug it straight in line and happy cooking. Now, because I'm still running the one computer, the Haltech, one computer in both cars, so I've got to swap the computer out, plug my laptop in and swap the maps over. Not a big deal. It is a bit annoying, but yeah, one day I'll get another computer so I don't have to do this. But it's also a good way to check on things in the Haltech. It does have like long-term learning on the fuel map and a couple of things, so it gives me a chance to just check on that. But yeah, I'll swap the maps over and we'll get this thing in the shed and start doing some actual work. All right, so this bar section is bolted up. I've got to get some steel down from where I stacked it, and we'll get the bender out, and yeah, we'll get cracking. I did have some pretty wild ideas about what to build here. I've been thinking about it for months actually, but yeah, I've got all these bloody weird ideas, but I think I'm probably just going to build something that was similar on it. I did like the bar that was on it. Yeah, I can't really fault what was on it, so that's sort of the base I'm going to start on. In my head is similar to the other one, but if I find something different to do along the way, then I'll see what I can do. But yeah, here's a bender. It's actually Jesse's bender. I just steal it off him. Yeah, he's done a good job mounting it up. It was actually it's a JD squared. I think it's a model 32. Originally like a hand bender. So you got to frame it and mount it to the ground so you can swing off it. But yeah, Jesse's made this frame up on wheels and put a hydraulic ram on it and whatever. So that's awesome because you can wheel it around wherever you want. And yeah, you don't have to worry about the tube getting in the way of whatever. So yeah, obviously thanks to him for letting me flog it all the time. All right, so first bend, what I'm going to do is this bit of tube is going to be welded onto that. And then I'm going to come up, bend around into the flare there. So I've already marked where I'm going to bend to lay on a bit so I can chop it off for the angle. You know, it looks like a 65-degree bend, I guess. So we'll chuck her into bender and have a go. Now this style of bender is good. It's not like them super cheap bloody bow and arrow ones, they're no good. So with this style of bender, because it drags the tube around the die, so you always mark your start of your bend. And once you've done one, if you have to replicate it, so obviously for the wings of the bar I'm gonna have to replicate it, it's not that hard once you've figured out one side, because yeah, it's quite easy just to measure, like obviously get your degrees, call it 65, measure from the end of the tube to the start of the bend, put a mark, and then you know that you just slip the other tube in there, bend it to 65, and yeah, it's quite easy to mimic something in the bender. Well, at least with one bend anyway. When you start getting multiple bends on different planes, it gets a bit tricky, but still, everything's marked and everything's, yeah, if you write everything down, always mark it on the bit of tube. It's not overly hard to replicate it, but yeah, these benders are really good. A little bit of pressure, my marks at the start of the die, zero the indicator. It's definitely one thing you must do. Can't forget a bit of lube on it. Can holder. Away we go. All right, maxed out, so what you'll have to do is back the ram off and then move the pin and you keep going around the die. But anyway, it's at 60, when it springs back, probably 56. I'll just check it and make sure that we're on the right track. All right, I was pretty close. 62.5 is the magic number. Roughly sit that there. Oh. So, yeah, now just got to mark the cut, do some more measurements. I've already bent up the other one, so just a matter of making them the same, then we'll tack them bits on. Well, that took way too bloody long, but pretty sure it's good. So I wanted to make sure that the two wings, because they're obviously separate pieces and it's your starting point pretty much. So I wanted to make sure that they were 100% lined up with the body perfectly and along the front. So this is why I got this bit of angle just tacked on the front, just so I can get a reference of how far off they are. So yeah, I've done as much measuring as I can. It's all pretty much bang on within a couple of mil. So yeah, like I said, I just wanted to get that right, because if you start off on the piss, the bar's going to finish on the piss. So yeah, try and have a nice proper starting spot. So anyway, I reckon yeah, what I'll do is just from here out and around into here next, and then that'll the winch plate will sit on top of that. So we'll see how we go. It starts getting a little tricky when you got two bends in the same bit of tube. It's not so bad when on the same plane though, so it's only a matter of a little angle gauge here. Get the angle of that and line it up with the angle of the die, and then you'll see both of the bends will be on the same plane. But yeah, it gets difficult, like if you want it on a 45-degree offset, so you'd have to 45 that up, and it gets a little bit tricky like that. And it's pretty easy to actually bend it the wrong way too. So like if this was flipped over like that, and then you've done an S in your bit of tube. So it's pretty easy to do something like that, but yeah, I think I've got the basics covered. So thanks to Jesse again, because this is his notcher. I'm just flogging it. So yeah, we notched a tube to get a nice snug fit over the other section of tube that you want to do. Keeps it strong, easy to weld, nice and neat. This is probably harder than bending. To get a nice notch that's fully sealed, that's easy to weld, is actually quite difficult. So yeah, I've already done a quick test notch. Needs to go a little bit shorter. I'll trim up the other side, but yeah, we know that this bend here is 72 degrees. And in order to, like, if this bit of tube here was running parallel with this bit of tube, you know, you'd need a 18 degree notch to then be able to pick up this angle in here if you run a straight bit of tube. But yeah, I know that the wings, they sort of peel back a little bit. So probably gonna try just a bit over 20 degree notch, and yeah, it should fit good. And then I'll trim up this side and do the other side. So what we do is get a straight bit like that, and then put a mark where the start of the bend is. And then you can do the same on the other side, which I've done here. And then that gives you a reference point to measure. So what I do is measure from the notch to the mark is 125. Come around this side, and then I'd mark 125 here, and then plus 15 mil, because you obviously need a bit to notch out, because obviously, yeah, that's the base of the notch, so you still need material. So generally 15 mil is what I've been doing, and yeah, that gives you enough meat to run the notch through. So I'll do that and we'll see how it fits. As you can see, fits over nicely, easy to weld. This section, I've got to centralise it, tack it in place. And I think I said in an earlier video, I don't want to cut the grill out again. I like having a full grill. And then yeah, my other winch and bar, I had to cut the grill out. Yeah, I want to keep this grill intact just to make the car look a little bit nicer, because yeah, they don't look, yeah, they look a bit sort of bush hacky with the grill cut out. So yeah, I'm going to try keep this winch out, but I want to try and keep it as low as I can as well, to try and keep it at, obviously closer to chassis height the better. And then but yeah, it's going to be a happy medium. It's obviously going to be a little bit higher, but it's going to stick out a little bit more. I don't want it sort of right down the front here like a dozer blade. So a little bit of playing around to get the angle right and make sure I'm, yeah, I think it's 260 mil I've got to be off the grill. Yeah, so a little bit playing around, tack it in place, and I'll just yeah, see what it looks like, I guess. So this is what it's going to look like. It sort of might be hard to see, but it's going to stick out a little bit. That's just tacked in there, just as a reference. I've got about 250 between this and the grill. The winch is about 220. But for the sake of 30 mil, like I want to have that little bit of clearance between the winch and the grill for movement and yeah, any flex. And for the sake of 30 mil, I'm not going to gain much at the front. So I could probably lift it up a little bit higher, but even then I'm not really gaining that much. And if you have a look from the front, it's still halfway up the grill. And I've got there the front mount. I don't want to be blocking off air to the cooler and the radiator and that, so I think might have to go with function over form on this one and leave it sticking out a little bit. And it probably looks worse because there's no winch and there's the rest of the bars not done. Once it's all done and the winch is in there, it probably won't look that bad. So that's the sacrifice you got to make if you want to put a winch like that on the front. So if I get stuck on something, that winch will just drag me over it, no problem. So I've got no issues there. Oh, I've had enough for the day. I'm going home. Get going tomorrow. Oh, it's the next day, and I got here pretty early because I want to get this done today. So I've just pulled the winch off the race car. Now both cars aren't going, so I won't be doing any driving in the next few weeks, that's for sure. But yeah, I managed to get the winch off. Now I just got to put the winch in the bar, put a few more tacks on it so it doesn't fall out. It's only just a couple tacks holding it in. I've had a sleep over, I took some photos of it and then I had a sleep over it. How far it sticks out is really annoying me, actually. But I'm hoping that once the winch goes in and then the top hoop goes on, it doesn't look so bad. But anyway, we'll keep going with it and just see how it turns out. It's coming along good. The winch is in there. Pretty tight behind the grill. Just at this top section here, there's probably 10 mil maybe. So not too bad. Obviously plenty of room down here. Get your hand in there. I'm hoping that I can pull the grill out because I hated with the other bar and the winch. The grill had to be in two pieces to pull out and that really bloody annoyed me. So yeah, it looks a little bit better now that there's a winch in there. Doesn't stick out as far, but yeah, it's looking pretty good. There's still like heaps of bracing and things that I've got to do, but anyway, I'll just do the hoops, and then that's the main bar done, and then it's just a matter of adding in, a couple back braces and things like that. This is where I'm at with the bar. It's coming along good. So try and get a good shot. It looks awesome with the hoops on it. With the winch in there and the hoops on it, it looks really good. So I'm quite happy with it. It sticks out a little bit, but like I said, I don't want to smash it into the grill, and there's not much you can do about it when fitting a winch this big. Even though the high mount with the bracing is about the same width, but obviously only in one spot where the bracing is, where this is sort of like more box. So it takes up a little bit more room, but anyway, looking pretty cool. Now, all I've got to do now is brace it all up, because essentially, if you can see, the whole bar is mounted off these two tubes, one on either side. So these welds here are the only ones that would be holding, as it sits, the whole bar together. So yeah, what I'm going to do is tube from here back to the plate, and then like that'll brace that back, and then put a bit of tube in here and then brace it back as well. So when you're building a bar, anything like this really, you need to make sure everything's triangulated. The more triangles you can get in your bar, the stronger it'll be, and obviously the width of the triangles will also help this too. So it's a pretty nice triangle running it back, like that'll brace both wings up nicely, and that triangle in there will stop it from pushing back in. And a couple other small bits and pieces, but the main structure's done, so it's pretty cool. Pretty pumped with how this is coming out. This is I'm actually super stoked with how it's come out. So these are these braces I was talking about. So I'll just put a little bit in here, brace that back, and then I had a top brace off here down to the main plate. I'll put a corner brace off that to brace it all up. And when I pull the bar off, I'll fill this in with a couple bits of tube just to stop anything coming up there. So yeah, super happy with it. It's actually looking real good. There's not really much else left to do, other like little stuff like the UHF aerial, the bracket for it, somewhere to put the hook, which I might downsize to a smaller hook on this one. Hook it there somewhere, I reckon. And then cap the ends, bits like that. Obviously make the sliders and then scrub rails and whatever. So the whole idea of this, it's a little bit wider in the cradle, but I want to be able to pull the air brakes off, pull the end plate off, and like service it in the bar, pull this plate off. I want to be able to service the winch while it's in here if I have to, or change the gearing because I've got a different set of gearing for it. And yeah, hopefully pull the grill out. I want to be able to pull the intercooler out. All this stuff I want to come off with the bar still on. So I should really test that, but anyway, the bar's done now, so hopefully that's what's going to happen. I'll back it outside and we'll have a better look. For some reason, got a bloody flat battery. But if you got Optimus, just spin him upside down, touch the terminals, turn the key. Bit dodgy, but works. Now I'm bloody happy with that. It's yeah, 2 days in the shed. Realistically, that is a 1 day job, but I've done a lot of sitting there and looking at it to wonder what to do next and to make sure what I was doing I liked. So yeah, there was a lot of time sitting around doing nothing. So yeah, realistically 1 day, but anyway, 2 days it took me. And yeah, obviously there's still another day's work in it, getting the rest done and welding it all out and cleaning it up. So there's a fair bit of work in it, but anyway, I'm happy with the outcome. Yeah, I can't wait to finish the rest of it off. So next video I'll probably be doing sliders and hopefully the rear bar roof sliders I've got to do. Yeah, there's heaps of other stuff. Both diffs got to come out, and yeah, I've got heaps of stuff to do. But yeah, my front shocks have been ordered and the mounts for them are on the way, so that's pretty exciting. I think, yeah, it's pretty cool what's going in this, and actually I'm really keen to have a play with what's going in this, so that's going to be exciting. But I'll wrap this video up here. I've probably talked enough crap. Most of you probably aren't interested in the process of it, but hopefully there's some handy little hints for you in building one of these. I'm not a fabricator. I don't claim to be a fabricator. I'm just someone who enjoys doing this. And yeah, if you like what you're seeing, drop a like. Let me know what you think of the new bar and any other ideas you got. Yeah, make sure you subscribe, because some of the upcoming stuff with this car is going to be pretty cool, and I'm looking forward to it. But until then, we'll see you on the next one.